Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I can never multitask in the morning when I'm trying to talk and open up a new page. Let's see if everything is working. Yeah. So, yeah. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to focus on strengthening the legs and opening the hips. So I want to do a bit of butt workout, a bit of thigh strengthening, and overall quite a strong class to start the week. So get a mat ready. You can always have 2 blocks nearby if you have them. If you don't have blocks, take some thick books. It can come in handy to balance. And get yourself situated. I'm just going to finish my water and then we'll start. I had a lot of sun this weekend, so I feel a bit color on my face. Quite nice. Okay. Let's start. Let's start on the floor today. So lie down on your back for a moment in Shavasana with your legs long, feet flapping open, hand palms to the ceiling. And you can close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths. Releasing your lower back. Softening your jaw. Soften the back of your neck, soften your throat. Let your whole body melt down into the floor. And start to breathe down into your lower belly, down into your pelvic floor. So imagining the same way that the diaphragm on the top of the organs on the base of the ribs moves into the belly when we make space for the lungs to breathe. That same way, imagining the pelvic floor like a second diaphragm down in the hips. And as you breathe in, the pelvic floor expands down and out. So as you breathe in, you're creating space between the hip bones, the pubic bone, and the 2 sit bones. Like you're inflating a balloon, and as you breathe out, you're releasing any tension in this area. Deeply breathing into the lower belly, into the sides of the hips and the backs of the hips. Expanding the whole pelvic area. feeling your lower belly rise and fall as you breathe in and out. And then bring your right knee up towards your chest. Grab your both hands, interlace your fingers, and very, very gently allow the weight of the hands to sink the knee a little bit more down. We're going to take a little bit of time to let this hip soften. It can be quite stiff in the morning when we just wake up. You'd be folding the right leg in towards the chest, keeping the left leg completely soft and relaxed on the floor. Keep breathing into the pelvic floor, expanding the space between the sit bones, pubic bone, the sit bones, the pubic bone, and the tailbone, like a diamond shape. And the right knee is just sinking down as your hands relax more, as your shoulder blades relax, as your front of the hips softens. Not pulling with the arms, just sinking the weight lower down. Keep actively releasing the tailbone, the buttocks, the lower abdominal muscles. Let the shoulder blades fall down into the floor. Soften the top of your neck, soften between your eyebrows. And then you can take your right knee a little bit more out to the side, so very small, subtle movement. Letting the knee fall more towards the right shoulder, all the way until your right elbow reaches the floor. And just lean your elbow into the floor, your knee into your hands, and you can give a few little pulses here. And your left shoulder can come a little bit off the floor as you do this gentle little rocking shake from side to side. Very easy. Maybe your head reacts to this, releasing the neck. And then keep this little shake and start to move the right knee over towards the left. Very softly, very, very easily. And you can place your thumb on top of your right thigh in the big crease. So your right thumb, move it into the hip crease and use your left hand to make little knee circles slightly across the chest. So with your right thumb, you're digging into those big muscles in the front of the thigh, encouraging them to soften. And then very gently, easily start to come into a little twist. This time you can lean on your left elbow. Very gently, very easily. See if you can drop the knee all the way down to the floor. Keep shaking a little bit. And from there, opening up your arms. Roll your head back to the center, or maybe even all the way over to the right. Very easy wake up twist of the spine. You can keep shaking out here a little bit or wiggling your hips. Maybe rolling your head side to side. And from there, gently coming back, grab your knee with both hands. Give a few little pulses into the hip. So using the strength of your upper arms to pulse your knee a little bit closer to your shoulder. Notice where your body reacts to this. Maybe your left thigh starts to shake a bit, your shoulders, your neck. Very gentle. It's not an effort here. It's a very easy movement just to loosen up the joints. And from there, releasing the right knee. Slide that knee back down. Take a moment on your back to notice any differences between the sides. And then slide your left leg up, knee towards your chest, and really take time to let gravity do its work. Let your hands fall down onto your knee, releasing as much as possible your shoulders, your arm muscles, your whole left hip. Breathing down into the pelvic floor, releasing the tailbone, releasing the front of the left hip. See if you can keep both your shoulder blades softening down onto the floor. And then very slowly, gently start to let your left knee slide a little bit more out to the left. All the way until you catch the weight on your left elbow. And from there you can wiggle a little bit. Wiggle the knee in and out, let your body react the way it wants. Maybe your head rolls side to side. Your right shoulder blade can come a little bit off the floor here. Very gently loosening the leg, loosening the thigh, loosening the hip joints. And then you can keep shaking it and start to move your left knee across the chest to the right. You can release your left thumb and push it down into your hip crease, into the left hip crease. So as you shake, you're encouraging the front of the thigh to release. Wherever you feel a tight spot, you can just dig your thumb down in there. Keep shaking a little bit or pulsing, however this feels good to you. All the way until you reach the floor with your left knee. And from there you can open up both your arms and maybe roll your head towards the left, roll your torso back towards the left, keeping your knee on the floor. A little easy twist here. If it's too intense, just back off a little bit, bring your left shoulder a little bit back up. You can here also take a little pulse, shift your hips a little bit up and down, roll your head. A little twist to wake up the spine. And from there, grab your left knee, bring it back. So you're lying on your back. A few little pulses, pulling your knee closer in towards the shoulder. And take this in a way that feels good to you, very relaxing. It shouldn't be a big effort. From there, releasing that leg, slide it down. Take a moment to notice. Feel the blood rushing back into your left leg. And step both your feet close to your sit bones, so your heels are quite close by. You can touch them with your fingers. Flatten your hand palms, so your hand palms are facing down from here. Start tucking your pelvis, so the pelvic floor that we just have been releasing, now pull it in, pull your whole lower belly in, use your tailbone, your whole pelvic floor, pull it in to roll your spine up, vertebra by vertebra, very easily, very slowly. So we're starting by tucking the pelvis, pressing down into the feet, rolling the ball of the pelvis up, and from there very gently rolling exactly the same way back down. So vertebra by vertebra, making your back as round as you can, your lower back rounding on the way down, using your buttock muscles. And when your lower back reaches the floor, then you just release the muscles to come back to a neutral spine with a little bit of space underneath your lower back. Let's do that 2 more times. From a neutral spine, start with tucking the pelvis. Very subtle, small movement, pulling in the abdominals, pulling in the whole pelvic floor. Start to press into your feet, rolling your pelvis up, rolling your spine vertebra by vertebra, all the way until you reach the shoulders, shoulder blades, softening your neck. And from the top here, gently, gently roll back down exactly the same way you came up. Practicing the articulation of the spine, so really noticing each and every little vertebra as you roll down. And as your lower back touches the floor, releasing the abdominal muscles, releasing the pelvic floor muscles, and coming back to a neutral spine with a little bit of space underneath the small of your back. One last time, start by pulling your belly button in towards the spine and pressing lightly into your feet to tuck your pelvis, really pulling your whole abdominal wall in towards the back. Very slowly rolling up your spine, strengthening your buttock muscles. And on the top here, let's come to the tippy toes 5 times. So keep your pelvis where it is, only move your heels up and down. And especially on the way down with the heels, keep the pelvis moving up in opposition. 1 last time, lifting up the heels with control, bringing them back down and then rolling the spine, vertebra by vertebra, all the way back down. And once you're back in your neutral spine, bring both knees into the chest for a moment. You can give a little pulse here, like we did before. And then start making this pulse bigger and bigger and start to roll a little bit. So pulling on your knees to roll your buttocks a little bit up, and as you go back, lifting your head. So we're rolling on the spine. Let's roll a few times. See if you can keep the position of your legs the same. So you're not using the legs for momentum. Pulling your abdominal muscles into your spine. And then the next time you're up, stay there. Release your feet. And move yourself into a little squat. Drop your head down, release the pelvic floor down, uncurling your tail, really softening between the tailbone, the sit bones, and the pubic bone. Same image here as you breathe in, creating space between those 4 points. And as you breathe out, letting any tension you feel there, anywhere in the pelvic floor, in the pelvic bowl, letting it just dissipate. And pelvis expanding as you breathe in and releasing as you breathe out. And from here, lift your heels up as high as you can. And then lift your sit bones a little bit away from your heels so there's a bit of space between your pelvis and your heels. From there, bring your face forward and see if you can balance here. A small activation of the thighs, bringing your hands to prayer in front of the chest. A little balance and then releasing back down. Start to work your legs towards straight. You can keep your knees a little bit bent here. So lifting your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Keeping the knees bent, resting your hands on the floor. Or if it's quite intense for you to have your hands on the floor, you can have 2 blocks slightly wider than your feet, slightly in front of your feet. Quite a nice way to let the shoulders release a little bit more. From here, exactly what we did when we came to bridge before, so when we were lying on the back, start to engage the pelvic floor, engage the abdominal muscles, start to tuck your pelvis under, and let that roll through the spine, and then release, coming back down. So we're going to do little spine rolls here. I'm really focusing on engaging the pelvis, engaging the hamstrings here, and the whole pelvis tucks forward, and then the tailbone sticks back down, or back up actually. So little waves through the spine, making use of the abdominal muscles as you tuck your pelvis forward, and letting the movement move all the way through the spine. Now, if this is a little bit too much of a stretch for you, you can always put your hands on your knees here and come a little bit more up to increase the mobility of the spine. So this is up to you. A few more rolls. And from there, let's come back into the little squat. And walk your hands forward, bring your knees to the floor. And look at your toes, make sure they're pointing all forward, your little toes especially. Using your fingers, you can point them forwards. Then come to sitting on top of your heels, releasing the weight of your pelvis down into the floor, stretching the bases of your toes. You can place your heels of your hands on top of your thighs, on top of the tops of your thighs. And just release the weight down, pressing down into the fronts of the hips, the hip flexors, releasing softly down, opening up the bases of your toes. From here, if it's okay for you, if you're ready, leaning your torso a little bit back, so with your fingertips pointing forwards, placing the weight into your hands. Now the same exact feeling again, start to engage your pelvic floor, your butt muscles and your abdominal muscles to tuck your pelvis forward and release. So a mini spine wave here. And you can let it ripple all the way out through the chest, through the head. And then gently press down into your hands, bring the weight back forward. Walk your knees a little bit back. And you can shake out your lower legs. And then we're going to come into all fours. Spread out your fingers. And here we're going to do the same exact thing again. So starting with a neutral spine, with your wrists right below your shoulders, your knees right below your hips. Start by pulling your belly button strongly in towards your spine, which tucks your tailbone under, which makes your lower back round. Move it all the way into the upper back until your head is all the way down. From there, tuck your pelvis backwards, sticking your tailbone up, rippling through the spine. Keep the weight forward over your two hands. It can be tempting here to shift the weight back into the knees. And we'll just do a few spine rolls like this, really focusing on pulling in the belly button in towards the spine and using the pelvis, all the muscles in the pelvic floor and the buttock muscles, contracting and releasing to increase the mobility here. So it's like a cat-cow, but it's wavy. And after your next wave, come back to a neutral spine. A little curve in the lower back here. And a lot of space between your shoulder blades. Tuck your toes under. Very gently lift your knees off the floor, pulling your belly button in towards the spine. And take the weight a little bit forward and back, forward and back. A few times, warming up through the wrists, strengthening the arms here. And then push yourself into downward dog. You can walk out your feet. And then come to stillness in your downward dog, pressing your heels down towards the floor, pulling your sit bones up towards the ceiling, releasing your neck, focusing somewhere between your knees or your shins, so the back of the neck is soft, you're not looking at the floor. And from here, start to tuck your pelvis forward, rolling all the way forward into a plank pose. And then stick your sit bones up, waving your spine back into downward dog. Few times, big wave of the spine here. Let's do 2 more waves. Tucking the pelvis in, rounding, rolling, untucking the pelvis, sticking the sit bones up to the ceiling to come back. One last time. And coming into your downward dog. Start to walk your feet forward one by one, small steps, until you reach the front of the mat, come halfway up. Bend your knees a little bit, round your whole torso down. Rest your upper body on top of your thighs, but keep your sit bones reaching up. From here, grab your both hands behind your lower back. Straighten through the elbows and let your arms sink down behind your head. A little chest opening, shoulder opening. Then change your grip, so bring the hands back to your lower back. Just put the other thumb on top, changing the grip of the fingers. Coming back to the same stretch. Softening the shoulders, releasing your pelvis up. And from there, bring your hands back to your lower back. Release the fingers, release the hands. Bend your knees a little bit more. Now, see if you can round up the spine exactly with the same activation of muscles. So bending your knees, then activate the hamstrings, the buttock muscles. Pull your belly button in towards your spine as you round your whole spine. Slowly, slowly up. Head comes up last. Standing tall on your front of your mat, opening your shoulders down. You can open your hand palms to the front. From here, breathing in, bring your arms up overhead. And as you breathe out, sit down into a chair. So you're sticking your butt out behind you. Your knees are over your ankles. So if you look down, you can see your whole feet. Try and arch your lower back. From here, bring your hands to your chest in prayer. As you breathe in, lift your chest a little bit and twist over to the right. Look down, make sure your both knees aren't sliding, so you're pulling your left knee a little bit back to keep your knees even, and then press down into your right hand to twist your spine. And gently coming back to the center, extend your arms, sink your hips down lower and further back. Bring your arms back to prayer. Breathe in, lift your chest and twist over to the right. Placing the right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Sorry, we're twisting to the left here. Press down into your left hand. If you look down, make sure your both knees are even, so you're not sliding. Pressing down into the left hand to twist, twist, twist. From there, coming back to the center, feel the burn in the legs. Do a few pulses here, sinking down more, coming slightly up. Use your butt muscles here. From there, round yourself down. Come to forward fold You can straighten your legs all the way if you're ready, or keep them slightly bent. From here, coming halfway up, bend both legs and then step the right leg back into a lunge. Leaning on your fingertips, shift the weight forward and back a few times. Reaching forward with your sternum. From there, bring your right knee down to the floor. Walk your hands up to the left knee. Keep the right toes tucked. So you're encouraging your right hip to stay facing forward. Make sure the left ankle, the left heel is right below the knee, so your shin is perpendicular to the floor. And let your hips sink down and forward. Big stretch into the front of the right thigh, right hip flexor. From here, keep your hips as low as they are. Straighten through the right leg. And then reach your both arms up. Straighten your front knee. Let's do that 5 times. So we're straightening and bending the left thigh. As you bend, sinking your hips down lower. Keep the right knee very straight. On the 5th one, we stay down. And we reach forward on the diagonal with the torso for a moment to bring the hands back down. Step the left foot into plank. It's your choice. You can bring your knees down to the floor or keep them up. Hands are strong. Fingers very spread. And bend the elbows and come all the way down into chaturanga. Sliding the weight forward, coming to a little cobra here. Joining your shoulder blades together behind your back. From here, roll your chest back down, tuck your toes. Either with your knees on or off the floor. Come back into plank. Press yourself into downward dog. Then look forward, stepping your feet back, walking them all the way in. Come halfway up, round down, and bend your both knees, roll up all the way. Right away, breathing in, bring your arms up overhead. And then separate the hands, sit down into a chair. Bring your hands in front of your chest. Breathe in, lift your chest, twist over to the left to start with. Right elbow outside of left knee, pressing down. Make sure your knees stay even. We'll go a little bit faster through this. Come back to the center, sit down deeper. Extend your arms, sit down even deeper, then bring your arms back to prayer. Sit down even deeper. Lift your sternum up, twist over to the right. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee, pressing down into the right hand. Twist. Lift up back to the center, extend your arms, sink your hips down lower, take a few little pulses here, gently, and then come all the way down to forward fold, maybe straightening the legs all the way. From here, coming halfway up, Bending both knees and step the left foot back into a lunge. Leaning on your fingertips. Shift the weight forward and back a few times. From there, sinking your left knee down to the floor. Lean your both hands on top of your right knee. Make sure the right shin is perpendicular to the floor. Keep your left toes tucked. Your left hip facing forward. Sinking your hips forward and down, opening the front of the left thigh. From here, keep your hips down low, straighten through your left knee. And then lift both your arms. And straighten the right knee. We're going to do that 5 times, sinking down the hips as you come down, straightening the knee all the way with control. Breathing out as you sink your hips down. Every time you go down, you go a little bit deeper with the hips. And on the last one, staying down low. And reaching forward on the diagonal with the torso. Bring both hands down next to the foot. Step the right foot back into plank pose. And then chattering it down into cobra or up dog if you're ready. Into downward facing dog. From here, looking up at your hands, walk your feet one by one all the way forward, coming halfway up, rounding down, and bend your knees, activate your whole pelvic floor to roll yourself up. Standing tall at the top of your mat. Breathe in, lift your arms up overhead. Then swan back down this time. Going halfway up. Now you can step or jump. Chaturanga it down. Upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog. From here, shift the weight into the left foot, bring the right leg up. Parallel, very simple. Keeping your shoulders even. The weight in both hands evenly divided. From here, pointing through the foot, keeping the hips parallel. Bring the foot to the side and tap the floor. From there, bring the foot back up, make a half a circle and tap the floor on the outside of your left foot. Do that 2 more times. See if you can keep the left leg as stable as possible. So try to shift the weight as little as you can. And last time, tapping and tapping. From there, open up the hip, lift the leg higher. But only the right leg isolates in opening. The rest of the position stays the same. Bend the knee, pull the knee up higher. Then pull the knee in towards chest, roll forward. Place the knee between the hands. Bring the left outside of the foot down. Reach your left hand forward to come up into a supported side plank. Gently come back exactly the same way. Lift your left heel, lift your right knee, stick the leg back up into downward dog splits. Then bring the knee back into the chest, roll forward. This time, step the foot down. Lift up into warrior one. As you breathe out, sink the hips down lower. Then open into warrior two, bringing the outside of the left foot down into the floor. Sink the hips down lower. And just like we did in warrior one, we're gonna straighten and bend 5 times the front thigh. Breathing in as you straighten, breathing out as you sink down. And every time you sink down, come a little bit down lower. On the 5th time, staying down there. Bring your right hand to the top of your right knee with the thumb facing out, so your thumb is on the outside of the knee. Left hand comes to the back of your left thigh, supporting yourself here. If the leg is shaking a bit, it's a good sign. Now reach your sternum up, come into a reversed warrior here, but supported with both hands. So a little arch in the back. From here, bring the spine back up, straighten both knees. Bring the arms back out, reach forward with the right hand, place it on top of the right ankle. Reach up with the left, triangle pose. And from here, look down to your right foot. Bring both your hands down on your fingertips, or you can use blocks here underneath your hands. And lift the right heel and push the heel all the way up. Sorry, that's the left heel lifting. I'm coming into a flat back position here. So you can use your blocks for support. Bring your left hip slightly forward and down so your both hips are even. Long, straight left knee, left leg. And from here, start to sink the left heel down towards the floor. You might not reach the floor all the way, but you're reaching back with your left heel, and you can now round your spine over the right leg. Maybe pointing your fingertips backwards, walking your hands a little further back. Bending into the elbows. And from there, gently bend the left knee, the right knee, come back into your lunge. Step the right knee into plank, right leg into plank. Chaturanga down, upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog, always with an extra optional push up there if you'd like. Finding your still calm downward dog. And then shifting the weight into the right foot to lift your left foot parallel, left leg parallel. Left foot is flexed. Everything stays the same, it's just the leg that lifts. And from here, point the left foot. So if you can keep the hip parallel as you tap your foot to the left side next to you, and then you take a half circle of the toes and you tap the floor on the outside of the right foot. 2 more times. So last time, tapping the outside with your big toe, then tapping on the inside with your big toe, coming back up into your parallel downward dog splits, and then you open up the hip, lifting the left leg higher, but everything else stays the same. Bend the knee, keep the weight evenly divided between the two hands. Lift the left knee up higher, then pull the knee in towards the chest, roll the weight forward, place the knee down between your wrists, roll outside of the right foot down. Slide the right arm forward to come up into a supported side plank. And there, come back exactly the same way you came in. Lift your right heel. Start by pulling the left knee in towards the chest and roll the way back, stick it back up into your downward dog splits with the hip open. And from there, bring the knee back into the chest. Roll forward, set the foot between the hands, come up into warrior one. Breathing out, sinking your hips down lower. And from there, opening up into warrior two. Gently turning your right foot out a little bit. Pressing the outside of the right foot down into the floor. Sinking your hips down lower as you breathe out. Then 5 times we're going to straighten and bend the front knee. Sinking down even lower. Keep the right outside of the foot connected to the floor. And on the last time, stay down. Bring your hands to your legs for support. And lift your sternum to come into a little small back bend here. Supported inverted warrior. And gently bring your torso back up. Bring your arms back up, straighten both your knees. Reach forward with the left hand, place it on top of the left ankle. Come into triangle pose, reaching up with the right hand, looking up with the right hand. From here, look down at your foot, bring your both hands down. You can use your blocks. Place your blocks on either side of your left foot. Then lift the right heel up and push it forward. So strongly arching the right foot, bringing the right hip forward and down so your both hips are even. One long straight line through the spine. And from here, start to pull your right heel back towards the back wall. And then you can walk your hands backwards along the floor, rounding your back now. So you're rounding over your left knee. Maybe gently bending the elbows. And from here, Walk your hands back forward, bending the left knee, coming into your lunge, step into plank, chaturanga down, upward facing dog, into downward facing dog. From here, let's lower the knees, come into all fours. Untuck the toes. Now lift your right leg up parallel, flex the foot. We're going to take 10 little pulses, so as if you're stepping your foot onto the ceiling. Keep the weight forward on your hands. Once you've done 10, point the foot, lengthen the leg. Now bring the big toe down to the floor and bring it back up to parallel 10 times. This is 5. Keeping the whole weight stable so that weight stays over the wrist. 2 more. And if you're shaking, it's good. We're building strength. Bring the knee back down. Press yourself back into a child's pose just for a moment. Drop your head down. Take a few deep breaths. And from there, come back into your all fours. Same thing on the other side. Bring your left leg up. So the knee is directly behind the hip now. Flex your foot. 10 little pulses as if you're trying to step your left foot onto the ceiling. 9, 10. From there, point the foot, lengthen the leg. So it's a one long line. 10 times tapping the floor with your big toe. And coming back to parallel, so you don't have to overextend. Keep the whole torso very stable. Keep the weight in the middle between both hands. I lost count. I think that this is 8. And after 10 times, bend your knees. Now tuck your toes. Open your knees a little bit wider. Come again into a little child's pose. This time with your toes tucked and your knees a little bit out. From here, walk your hands closer to your knees. Roll yourself up. Bring your knees up to the side so you're in the same little ball shape, but your knees are on the outside of your arms. Drop your head, a little stretch for the back, and from here, lift your heels up. Same thing we did before, except this time the knees are a little open wide. So you're rounding up your back. From there, push down a little bit into your legs so you lift your sit-bones away from your heels. Bring your hands into prayer, balancing. Gently coming back down. Slide your knees inside your arms. Rock your head. Straighten through the legs. And then bend your knees, roll up all the way. As you're standing upright, bring your arms forward So your hands are directly in front of your shoulders, elbows long. From here, come to standing on top of your toes. And we're going to sit down slowly. So we're slowly bending the knees, staying on top of the toes, tippy toes. Very, very slowly sitting down, sitting down, sitting down. And then gently coming back up with control. Sinking your heels down. Do that one more time. Lift your heels up. Start bending your knees with control, coming down, keeping your lower back straight. Thighs may be shaking a bit, it's a good sign. And gently coming back up with control. Sinking your heels down. Bring your arms down for a moment. Come to standing with your feet together. Wrists or your hand palms facing forward now. Breathe in, bring your arms up overhead. As you breathe out, swing your arms down. Your right comes underneath the left. Coming all the way into a twisting of your arms. If you can, get your hand palms together. If you're not there yet, you can get the backs of your hands together. Or if you're almost there, you can clasp your fingers to pull your shoulders more down. So your right arm is underneath the left. Breathe in, lift your chest up to sit down into a chair, just like we did before. So your hips are far behind you, and your knees are directly over your ankles. From here, keep the hips low. Start lifting your right leg up and start to twist it all the way around the left. If you can, hooking the right toes all the way to the inside of the left ankle. From here, stick out your pelvis further to the back, arch your back, sit down lower, lengthen the back of your neck, soften your jaw, sit down lower. Gently coming out with control, bring your arms up overhead. As you breathe in, lift your arms up higher. Breathe out, swing. This time the left arm underneath the right. Coming all the way to twisted arms again. Get your hand palms together if you can. If you're not yet there, you can get the backs of your hands together. Or interlace the fingers to help pull yourself down. Pull your shoulders down. Breathe in, lift your chest up to sit your pelvis back. Really leaning your tailbone back and away from you. From here, keep the pelvis down low and lift the left leg up. Wrap it as high as possible around the right. And if you can't wrap the toes yet, it's okay. Just keep your feet, keep your foot where it lands. But if you can, wrap your big left toe to the inside of your right ankle. Squeezing, stick your sit bone out more, your tailbone out more, arching your lower back, sit down lower. And gently coming out, bring your arms back overhead as you breathe in. Breathe out, bring your arms back down, open your palms, stand up tall. Now we'll go straightening the arms again in front of us. Hands in front of the shoulders. This time we don't lift the heels, but so we're standing parallel, feet pointing straight forward. We're just going to squat down as slowly as we can, without lifting the heels up this time. So the heels will come off the floor when they have to, but we're not lifting them up extra high. And the moment you want to slow, you want to fasten, the moment you want to speed up because of lack of strength, slow it down. Really take it slow, slow, slow until you're all the way down. Then start to tuck your pelvis. See if you can bring your knees to the floor, either together, or if it's easier, you can do one by one, leaning your torso back. See if you can avoid any drops. Once your knees are on the floor, walk your hands forward, back into a plank pose. From here, chaturanga down, upward facing dog, into downward facing dog. Looking up at your hands, walk your feet back. Coming halfway up, we're back in the front of our mats, rolling down. Bending the knees, rolling the whole torso up, up, up. Standing tall, opening the palms. From here, breathe in. Lift the arms up overhead. As you breathe out, swan diving down. Breathing in, come halfway up. Breathe out, step or jump. Back into plank. Chaturanga down. Upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog, straight away, flowing. Right leg up, opening the hip. Bend the knee. Come into your wild thing. Opening the chest. Come back exactly the same way you came in. Back into your down dog splits. Pull the knee in towards the chest. Step into your warrior one. Opening into warrior two. From here, keep the front leg bent. Come into reverse warrior. Little back bend. Sink your hips down even lower. Move your torso back up. Straighten front knee. Reach forward into triangle. Come back up. Bend the front knee. Place the right elbow on inside the right hip. Reach the left arm up and over. Extend the triangle with the front leg bent. And from here, roll your both arms back down. Stepping into your lunge, stepping into your plank. Chaturanga down. Upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog. Right away, lifting your left leg off the floor, opening the hip. Bend the knees, sink the foot down behind you, come into your wild thing, opening the chest. Come back exactly the same way you came in, into your downward dog splits. Bring knee into the chest, step down forward into your warrior one. Sink your hips down lower, open warrior two. Sink your hips down lower. Come into inverted warrior with your front knee straight, bent, sorry. Little back bend. And lift your torso back up. Straighten your left knee. Reach forward into triangle. Twisting, reaching. Reach the torso back up. Bend the front knee. Bring the left elbow to the inside of the left hip. Reach your right arm up and over, extended warrior. And from here, rolling both your hands next to your foot, step into plank. Chaturanga down, upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog. And from here, let's come into a little child's pose. And take 10 breaths there. I'll be right back. From your downward dog. Sorry, from your child's pose. Come back into downward dog. Look forward at your hands, step or jump back. Coming halfway up, rounding down. Bend your knees, roll up. Stand up tall. Shift weight into the left foot. Lift your right knee. Right foot is flexed. From here, keep your left standing leg straight and bend forward. Reach for the right foot with both your hands. See if you can interlace all your 10 fingers, including the thumbs, underneath your right foot. Keep looking forward. If this is intense enough, stay here. If you want to go further, start to kick the right foot forward. Parallel. Both knees are strong and straight. If you want to go deeper, bend your elbows. And if you want to go even deeper, bring your forehead towards your right knee. From there, coming out exactly the same way you came in, reversing all your steps with control, standing back up straight. Let's change sides. Shifting weight into the right foot, lift the left knee up, left foot flexed. Keeping the right leg strong and straight. Lift your torso up to round it forward and over. Reaching for the foot with both hands. Interlace all your 10 fingers underneath the left foot. Stay here if it's enough, or start to kick the left heel forward and out. Parallel. straight shooting out of your hip. If you want to go deeper, start bending the elbows next to the shin. And if you want to go deeper, start to bring your forehead down towards the left knee. And if you fall out, don't worry. To come out, reverse your steps exactly the same way you come in. So lift your head, bend your knee, release the foot, round yourself up, then step the foot down. From here, shifting the weight into the left foot. This time we'll twist the spine towards the right. So you're going to grab the outside of the right foot with the left hand. Bring the right hand to the right hip. From here, first bring your right shin parallel to the floor as much as you can. Keep the left knee straight. If this is enough, stay here. You can extend your right arm behind you. Maybe working for a straight right knee. Maybe looking out over your right shoulder to the back wall. From here, gently coming back, bending the right knee. Come back to standing upright with the right knee up with control. Step the foot back down. Shift the weight into the right side. Lift the left foot up. And we're going to twist to the left side. Grab the outside of the left foot with the right hand. Bring the left hand to the left hip. And start by just bringing your heel up so your left knee is still bent. Twisting yourself, maybe lengthening the left arm back. Maybe start to lengthen the left knee. Only as far as you can with keeping the lower back straight and keeping the standing leg straight. Twisting, looking over your left shoulder to the back wall. And to come out gently, bend the knee back in, bring left hand to left hip, release the foot. And then step the foot back down with control. From here, reaching both arms up, swan diving down. Come halfway up with your torso. Step or jump back into plank. Chaturanga down. Upward facing dog. Into downward facing dog. And from here, shift the weight into the left foot, lift the right leg up. First parallel, then point through the foot, open the hip. Bend the knee. Pull it in towards the chest. Now roll forward and step the foot outside the right wrist. So your right foot is on the outer edge of your mat. You're going to come into a lizard pose. From here, gently bend your left knee and rest it down on the floor. If this is intense for your knee, you can put a pillow underneath the knee or fold your mat. Now you can use your blocks here. You can come either straight onto your elbows or you can place your elbows on a block. I like to rest my head here on a block. We're going to stay here a little while. let your belly hang out. Sink down lower into your hips and come back to the sensation of the beginning of the class where we were breathing into the 4 points of the pelvic floor, the pubic bone, the sitting bones, and the tailbone. Expanding that space. See if you can come back to that as you're stretching out your hips here. And as you're releasing more and more, maybe you can adjust the position of your blocks. Go a little bit deeper. From here, open up the right foot, so point the right toes a little bit to the right side. Open up the right knee a little bit. From there, pushing down into your hands. Place the left hand underneath the shoulder. And now start to twist. So you can flex the left foot and roll onto the outer edge of your left hip. So you're rolling the outer edge of your left foot onto the floor, stretching the outside of your left hip. Gently coming back out of that. So point your right foot back forward, your right toes forward. Now bend your left knee. Keep the left hand underneath the left shoulder and reach your right hand back to grab the top of your right foot. From here you can twist to the right. If you'd like, you can reopen the right toes, sinking the right knee towards the right, sinking your hips down lower, opening the right shoulder to the ceiling. And gently let it go. Point the right toes back forward. Take one of your blocks. Press down into the right foot to shift the weight backwards. All the way back. And sit down on top of one of your blocks with your right buttock. Untuck your left toes and shift your left heel just outside the left hip. So your both hips are even. You're not sitting on top of the left heel. Using the block underneath the right hip for support. And start to, just as we did in the beginning of the class, start to snake through the spine a few rounds. Bring the weight in your both hands. And from there, with a long, long lower back, you can start to walk your hands forward. Maybe grabbing the ball of the right foot. Keep the lower back long and straight, connecting your lower belly to your upper thigh. And from there you can round over. See if you can keep the lower back long as you round the upper back. From here, gently come back up. Remove the block. Sit down on your right sit bone and take your left foot. Turn it in. So place the left foot on the inside of your right thigh. Opening your hips a little bit so you can face into the diagonal over the top of your left foot in the middle of your both legs. Keep the right foot flexed. Walk your hands a little bit forward and lengthen your lower back. Stretching your right inner thigh. Same thing again. Keep the lower back long and you can round your upper back over that. And from here, walk your hands over towards the right foot. Now grab the ball of the right foot if you can with the left hand. If you can't reach it, grab the outer ankle. Or you can bend the right knee a little bit, bring it up a little bit closer so you can grab the ball of the foot. Also okay. From here, keep the lower back long, round your upper back, bring your forehead to your right knee. And from here, bring your right hand forward in front of the right knee. So you can start by pressing your right upper thigh, rolling it back with the upper right arm, twisting your back open. And if from there you'd like to go deeper, you can reach the right arm forward more. So you can bring the right shoulder towards the floor on the inside of the right knee, twisting your torso up, opening your shoulders up to the ceiling. Gently release this. Roll yourself back up. And walk yourself forward. Into all fours. We're going to change sides. So from all fours, bring your left foot to the outside of your left wrist. The left foot is on the outer edge of your mat. Parallel. You can untuck your right toes gently, slowly coming into lizard pose. Using your block in whatever way feels right to you. Or if you don't need a block, that's also fine. Letting your hips sink down. See if you can release your shoulder blades. Let your belly hang out. Very, very easily sinking your way down in this position. And maybe after a while you feel you've softened a bit, you can adjust the position of your blocks if you're using them underneath your elbows. Maybe you can replace them. Maybe your elbows come all the way down to the floor. And then you can open up your left foot a little bit, so walk your left toes a little bit to the left. Let your left knee fall open. And from there, walk your hands back up. Place your right wrist underneath the right shoulder. Now we're going to roll to the outside of the right leg. So place the outside of your right foot onto the floor, straightening the right leg all the way, stretching the outside of the right hip. And gently releasing that. Roll the right knee back down. Walk the left toes back forward. Now keep the right wrist underneath the right shoulder. Bend the left knee, bend the right knee, grab the right foot from behind with the left hand. Sink your hips forward and down. And if you'd like, you can reopen that left foot. Walk the left toes out towards the left. Drop the left knee a little bit outward. Start to twist your torso. Opening the left shoulder towards the ceiling. Sinking the hips down. And from there, gently releasing the foot. Walk the left toes back forward. Now take your block with you and shift the weight back. Sitting down onto the block with the left hip. Move the right heel just on the outside of the right hip so your both hips are even. Few spine waves here. Leaning on your hands. Take your time. Take it easy. And then sticking your tailbone back, keep your lower back long. Walk your hands gently forward. Starting to stretch with a long lower back and then rounding the top of your back over that. From here, walk your hands back up. Remove the block. Sit your left sit bone down. Now grab your right foot and turn it out. Step the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh and open the hips a little bit. And then come forward in the middle between your two legs. Again, with a long lower back. Much more important, you're sticking your sit bones back and you're keeping your lower back long. That's more important than how far you get with your elbows. Gently sinking your elbows down towards the floor. And then you can round just your upper back, but keep the lower back long. Your left foot is flexed, your left sit bone is still down on the floor, so you're not rolling forward, not rolling the left leg in. And from here, walk your hands towards the left. Maybe you can reach the ball of the left foot with your right hand. If you can't quite reach it, you can bend your left knee a little bit. Start by rounding down over that left leg. And then bring your left hand to the inside of your left knee. Start by pushing that elbow into the inner thigh, into the inside of the knee. And start to roll your torso open towards the right. If you want to go deeper, you slide your left arm forward more. See if you can get the left shoulder in front of the left knee. From there, you open up your torso. Twisting your right elbow up to the ceiling, looking up underneath the right armpit. And then gently let it go. Round yourself back up. Let's bring both legs out long in front of you. Now lean forward to grab both the balls of your feet. Again, if you can't grab, or if your lower back is really rounding here, you can bend both your knees a little bit up so that you can lift your sternum up and away and lengthen your lower back. So you have one long diagonal line in your spine. Your spine is not rounding. And once you get used to that sensation, almost a sensation as if you're arching your lower back, you can gently start to work your legs straighter and straighter, keeping the lower back long. And from there, you can keep the lower back long and round just the upper back. And you can either keep holding on to the sides of your feet, or if you like, you can place your feet closer together and clasp your fingers over the top of your feet if you can. Keep lengthening the lower back so you're sliding your face more and more down your shins. And then very, very gently round yourself back up. Let's do two more poses. We'll do a cobbler and a straddle before finishing. So for cobbler, I like to sit on the edge of the block. It really helps me get my lower back long. If you're very flexible, you might not need this. So if you're sitting on a block, make sure you sit really on the edge of it so you can use the block to help tip the sit bones back. Your feet quite close to your pelvis. Knees falling open. And then start to use your hands to open the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. You can give a little massage here. Try to keep your shoulders soft and relaxed. And then you can hold on to your ankles. Place your elbows on your inner thighs. And gently, gently, very gently pressing your thighs more down. Or if it's too much to press, just place your hands onto the floor. And lengthening your lower back. And round your upper back.
Take some time here to really sink down to the pose, releasing your shoulder blades, softening your back, softening your neck, your jaw. Keep softening your hips. And then very, very gently start to round yourself back up. Use your hands.
Do a little counter stretch here. Hold on to your ankles, lift your sternum up, drop your head back. And then we'll come into a straddle. So I like to use the block exactly the same way I used it in cobbler. So you can sit on the edge of it. Again, if you're very flexible, you might not need this. Open your legs in a position that's comfortable. So don't go to your max. We want to be in a place where we can stay for a little while. If you're sitting on the block, make sure you sit in the middle, as in the middle with your, so your sit bones are even on it, and sit a little bit on the front of it. So you can use the block to tilt your pelvis forward. And we can roll it a few times forward and back to open the inner thighs a little bit. And then from there, very gently, like you're arching the back, start to walk your hands forward. Really take all the time in the world to do this. If you need to walk your feet a little bit more forward, it's fine. Find a place where you can very, very gently start to lower your hips. So we're still sitting, I'm still sitting on the edge of the block. The block is tipping. My inner thighs are moving towards the floor. And the block is just helping to elevate my sit bones a little bit. Now it's split out. Maybe you slip off your block and just feel if you want to go back onto it or not, if that happens. Maybe it just helped for the beginning. And then take your time, keep your lower back long. Gently, gently start to reach your elbows towards the floor. And if it gets too intense, too much, just back off a little bit. Just close your legs a little bit. Whatever you need to do to keep this sustainable. So we want to stay here a little while to send a signal to the hips that it's all fine. They can do this. They can open. And if you're very comfortable with the lower back long, you can start to round the top of your back. Reach your head towards the floor.
And from here, super gently rounding yourself back up.
You can use your hands to help close your legs. And then let's come into easy Shavasana. Lying on your back with your legs long. You can open your feet a little bit wider. And let your feet flop open. Your hand palms facing the ceiling. And let everything melt down into the floor. Release your jaw. Soften your eyelids. Soften between your eyebrows. And let your breath come in and out naturally. Nothing to do now but relax. You gave your body a moment to integrate everything it's worked on today, everything it's learned. And starting from the tip of your big toes, start to move your awareness to all of your 10 toes, into the ball of your foot, soles of the feet, the tops of the feet, and the inner ankles and the outer ankles, and the heels and the Achilles, and the shin bones and the inner calf muscles, the outer calves, the backs of the calves, the backs of the knees, inside and outside of the knees, and the fronts of the knees, fronts of the thighs, all the way into the hip, the inner thighs and the outer thighs, from the back of the knee all the way up, the hamstring right into the buttocks, into the tailbone, into the lower back, into the sides of the hips and the fronts of the hips, the pubic bone and the lower belly, and the middle belly and the sides of the belly, and the small of the back, the base ribs in the back and the sides of the base ribs and the front of the base of the rib cage, moving all the way up each rib into the sternum, the sides of the rib cage, and the backs of the rib cage, and the shoulder blades sliding over the rib cage as we breathe in and out. Into the armpits, into the upper shoulders, the base of the throat, base of the neck into both shoulders, into both upper arms, the elbows, soft, fleshy inside, and the hard, bony outside. And the lower arms, all the way down to the wrists, the tops of the hands, the hand palms, the thumbs and the indexes and the middle fingers and the ring fingers and the pinky fingers. And moving from the chest to between the collarbones, the base of the throat, to the tops of the shoulders, trapezius muscles, back of the neck, all the way into the base of the skull, earlobes, the top of the jaw, and down into the whole jawline to right underneath the chin, moving up to the chin, to the mouth, the tongue, the cheeks, the earlobes and the whole ears and the insides of the ears, the base of the nose, the upper lip, the bridge of the nose, the whole cheek, cheekbones, the eyes, eyelids, eyeballs, the space between the eyebrows, and the eyebrows themselves, and the temples and the fronts of the skull, the forehead, and the whole scalp. Releasing the whole body down into the floor, softening, releasing the pelvic floor. You can stay here as long as you like. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm back on Wednesday with a nice class. So enjoy your day. And I hope to see you all then. Take care.